In the quiet town of Amityville, New York, there stood a seemingly ordinary house with a dark past. It was 1974 when a horrific event shattered the peace of this small community. Ronald DeFeo Jr., in a fit of madness, took the lives of his 6 family members as they slept. The house, once a place of family and warmth, now stood as a silent witness to unspeakable horror. A year later, the Lutz family, George, Kathy, and their 3 children, Billy, Missy, and Michael, were looking for a fresh start. They found the Amityville house charming and spacious, perfect for their needs. Despite knowing the house's gruesome history, they decided to move in, hoping the past would not affect their future. On the day they moved in, the house greeted them with an eerie silence. As they unpacked, the children ran around excitedly, exploring their new home. George and Kathy exchanged hopeful smiles, believing they had made the right choice. But it didn't take long for strange things to start happening. On their first night, as Kathy was cooking dinner, the lights flickered. She shivered as the temperature dropped, pulling her sweater tighter. George, ever the rational thinker, assured her it was just faulty wiring. That night, as they settled into bed, a loud bang echoed from the attic. George, concerned but determined to keep his family safe, went to investigate. The attic was filled with old furniture and boxes, and as he moved through the darkness, he heard faint whispering. He shook his head, blaming the wind, and returned to bed. The children, too, were not spared from the house's sinister presence. Missy, the youngest, woke up one night to find a shadowy figure at the foot of her bed. She screamed in terror, bringing George and Kathy rushing to her side. They found nothing but the lingering fear in their daughter's eyes. As days turned into weeks, the haunting grew worse. Kathy discovered a foul smell in the kitchen, leading her to a corner where black goo oozed from the walls. She recoiled in horror, unable to explain the unnatural phenomenon. George, while investigating the basement, heard eerie chanting and saw figures lurking in the shadows. His fear grew with each encounter. The family's breaking point came one cold, silent night. Kathy was packing frantically, desperate to leave, when ghostly apparitions of the DeFeo family appeared before her. They stared at her with hollow eyes, their presence chilling her to the bone. She screamed, demanding they leave her family alone. The Lutz family fled the house that night, not daring to look back. They piled into their car, George gripping the steering wheel with white knuckles, driving away as fast as he could. Silence filled the car, the children huddled close, and Kathy trembling beside George. "We're never coming back here," George vowed, his voice shaking with a mix of fear and relief. As they drove away, the house stood silently in the darkness. Its windows, like empty eyes, watched their departure. Inside, a faint light flickered, a reminder that the spirits within still lingered, waiting for the next unsuspecting family to cross its threshold. The Lutz family never returned to the Amityville house. They tried to move on with their lives, but the memories of their brief stay haunted them. The house remained a symbol of unexplained terror, its dark history forever etched in the minds of those who dared to enter. And so the legend of the Amityville Horror lived on, a chilling tale of a house cursed by its violent past, and the family that narrowly escaped its grasp.